scrapbookers and creative friends. I'm Linda Patouk. I'm a Creative Memories Independent Advisor in Jupiter, Florida. Thank you for tuning into Thursday's Thoughts. And if this is your first time, welcome. If you are a frequent flyer and you keep coming back for more, thank you so much. I hope you're subscribed. I really need to have you all subscribe. Click that little notice bell so that you know when my next video is posted. So today, for Thursday Thoughts, I want to talk about something that's not always everybody's favorite, but is something that I, in my heart of hearts, feel is really essential, and that is journaling. Now, we're going to talk about different ways that you can journal. Sometimes you don't need to write very much. Sometimes you want to tell a story, because honestly, all of those things are everyday activities, stories that you tell, special activities, special events. All of those make up the whole story of you and your family and your friends, and that is really the way people will remember you. So it's something that you want to keep a record of. Now, there are different ways that you can approach the journaling, and that's really what I want to share with you today. I have some examples. You'll see different examples of different ways that I have done my journaling. It depends really on the time that I have, on how much is necessary. Sometimes the pictures are all you need. You don't really need to write too much, except maybe the place, the who, what, when, where, why, just a little bit on there. But to me, it's really, really important. The other thing you might not like to hear, but the other thing that I think is so important is to at least have some of your handwriting in your albums. Everything doesn't have to be handwritten. As you'll see in my example, sometimes it was typed journaling. I know some of you are saying, I hate my handwriting, but let me just tell you this. That is something that your family will recognize, your friends will recognize, and it's part of who you are. So at least do some journaling in your own handwriting. Now, we're going to talk about how we can approach that different album placement in the journaling and the journaling album placement. But the first thing that I want to talk to you about is something that was gifted to me, words of wisdom that were gifted to me when we were going to have our third child, our daughter, Jenny. And it really struck a chord with me, and it was my mantra for the rest of my life. And that is, if you look, this is framed. It hangs on my wall. I took it down just for this video, but I have always had this in my heart of hearts. There are only two lasting bequests that we can give to our children. One is roots, the other wings. So to me, having your albums, your story, your family history, those are your roots. Those are your roots, and they're so important. So no matter how far away your kids travel or live, your friends travel or live, they know that you have the roots are your story and your history. And while our kids are out of the country, out of state, and so forth, I keep my calendar book, for one thing. That is where I keep our entire family history, our current family history. That way, it roots us together, keeps us together. It is our family history journaled. Sometimes more journaling than others, but it is journaled there, it is documented, and I really think that's very important. So when I talk about the handwriting, I just want to show you something. This is when we used to have the 8.5 by 11 albums. This album I made for my father, and I told the story. There's not a pretty title page, but to me, it was more important for me to talk about how we were visiting my mom and dad, and we all went out to this little shed that he had outside the house, and to my horror, there were boxes of photographs, a box of photographs still out there in that unair-conditioned shed. This is Southern Florida, people. It's hot. So he'd forgotten to bring them into the house. So we rescued them and we began to open them right where we stood. And my nephews were there, my brother and sister-in-law, my nephews were there. And they got so excited because there were a lot of pictures about my father in the Army. So one of the boys, my nephews were in ROTC, and they said, we would love to have Grandpa's all of his Army pictures together. So here we have the album that I call, we couldn't have it embossed, sorry. Here's my title. I do have a title now, Our Army Dad. So celebrating our Army Dad. Now here's what I'm talking about, the importance of handwriting. These, this handwriting I cut from an album that my mother, no, who did this? Must have been my grandmother must have done some of this. My father did some of this writing. These were their notes, which I photographed at the time that we had these 8.5 by 11 albums. We could get acid-free, lignin-free printer paper from Creative Memories. So that's what I printed this on. And you can see it's discolored because these were old. This was old paper, and it was not lignin-free. So in here, you'll see more pictures, notes that he took about that he was in a band, but notes that he took in different places. I don't want to ask about that one. The little kissy lips. But to me, this is so important when I go back and I see all of these things, you know, how silly he acted. He was silly. He was a funny guy. But I see all of these things that makes me so happy. But having them documented, you see, sometimes I just used, I used the information that was here already, and then I just added some sticker letters. But this was the way for me to have this. But do I have more picture? Here we go. No, so this was information that I had that I asked my dad about, and he said that this was him and his father taking pictures of each other out in the front yard in Miami. I'm a Miami native. I grew up in Miami. More pictures here, whatever. And then we had a very important story about while my dad was in the Army, and I made a spread for this. Every Sunday dinner, when we would sit down to dinner, my mom always made a nice salad. He would pass that salad and always say, ever since I was in the service, I've never been able to get enough lettuce. That is the one thing my brothers and I will always remember, because he always said that. Apparently, he could not get fresh lettuce. So I just outlined it with fresh, green, leafy, crunchy, juicy lettuce, fresh, green, leafy, crunchy, juicy lettuce all around, because this was a special event in our house weekly, and I just tore CM paper to make the lettuce, the crunchy leaves. But this was so important to me to have his handwriting, his important information, and this is what I had to do with his. This was a rolled up photo. There he is, right there. This was a rolled up photo. But this was the only way I could figure that I could put it into a smaller book and cut it. But it's protected with page protectors. But having his handwriting there is really important. Now, we didn't go on a lot of family vacations. We were on a pretty tight budget. But when we did go, we really had a good time. And one of our vacations, we went to the Bahamas. And I had a cell phone at the time that I could take notes on. So what I decided to do was each day I wrote like a little journal entry on my phone. And then when I came back home and we were all settled and I was ready to create my album, then I hand wrote what was there. I could have typed it up, printed it or so forth, but I just decided to handwrite it. But that was my copy, so I wouldn't forget any details. So that's what this is, Oceans of Family Fun. So let's take a look. Okay, so you will see this is the older CM album, old die cuts that we used to have. And I told the story about going on the trip. But then you can see this journaling, I use stickers for my, as my title, of course. And then here, for bullet items, I added little shell stickers for bullet items on here. I did the handwriting right into with the Creative Memories pens right inside on the pages. Have to remember things like Eric forgetting his sunscreen one day. Some of these, this was one of those landscape die cuts, and I hated to waste the top, so I used it for this guy over here. Waste not, want not. Okay, this one, very important. My husband was teaching Jenny about fire coral. She had just gotten out of kindergarten, and she had taken swimming. All the kids had swimming lessons, but he told her about the fire coral, which would sting you, and it was brown, so she was afraid of everything brown. So that had to be a big part of our book. Here, all I did was I just wrote again directly on the page, using some other die cuts as well. And, the things like this you want to document, they seem like really silly photos, but the kids had those little underwater cameras. We got a lot of pictures of fins. They used up their cameras in no time at all. They were not digital. But I wanted to show you something over here. Again, we took a photograph of when we were leaving. That was important to have that. But again, I just wrote on the page. Okay, now don't freak out. Don't say This was what I transcribed from my phone. Yes, it's like a storybook to me, but it was very important to me because we had so many events that we did each day and so forth. I didn't want to forget any of it. So what I would do is I would write in my notes on my phone, and you could do that if you have a phone or a tablet. I wrote things that the kids said, that we said, things that happened, so that I had a detailed, and I did change color for the dates, for the different days. But when you go back and read this, there is no way I could have remembered all these details if I was making this album now. So to me, that is the importance. You have to write it down or you're going to forget it. And when you're not around any longer, it's going to be a wonderful thing for your kids to go back and look at. Okay, yes, this is a lot, but it was a good time. We don't do this that often, so it was a good time. Even with all of that, I still had one page with stories that I had not told within that text. So don't hesitate to do that either, because I wanted to tell some of the things that we wanted to remember. That's one of the ways that you can do it. Write right on the page, and you can write an extensive journal if that's what you want to do. It's up to you. So, as I said, I did keep my notes on my phone. I didn't take my iPad with me when we on this particular trip I'm going to show you, but I did use my phone once again to make a journal note every single day and for all the special occasions and so forth. So I want to share that with you because this time, instead of transcribing it and handwriting it, I had it all on my phone. I emailed it to myself, and then I arranged it and picked the font that I wanted and the color font that I wanted and so forth to then print it and put it in our album that way. So let's take a look. So this is our journey to Japan, and you can see that I was able to write the dedication. Used that peekaboo pocket over here. Our son was in the Navy, and we had buddy passes, so we had a layover in Atlanta. Used that occasion to go and visit the Atlanta Aquarium. Fabulous, but it was a lot to write because we were delayed and so forth. So I just wanted to, and also wanted to give credit to our friends who made sure we got buddy passes because we were a military family visiting for Christmas. So the other thing, when I had stories about, cultural differences and so forth, I wanted to make sure that I got all those notes. And this would be a lot to write when I had so many pictures to cover the pages. So that's another thing when you type it up. It is a space saver. But you see, I did switch it with also having some of my handwriting on there. The next one I'm going to show you. Okay, so there were a lot of stories. We went to visit our son's ship, the USS Blue Ridge. We were welcomed aboard, and it was wonderful to go see where he'd been living for the last 4 years. So I did write the story under here. It was very important that he have his dad check out his berth and see if he could fit in there. Let me move this a little so you can see. Dad squeezed in there. That's what he wanted. Ooh, I'm crashing things. Excuse me. Okay. All right. But that was very important to have. And then also we talked about the different, the things that we learned while we were on the ship. We couldn't go to some places. And when we went to, he was an IT. So we went into his office. They turned off all the computers because we were not allowed to see that. So you learn a lot when you are in a military family. That was one of the things we learned. We just had to keep in our space. So you can see I didn't have the Creative Memories acid-free, lignin-free paper. So instead what I did, so this wouldn't in any way damage my photos, I cut it after I printed it, and I put it on Creative Memories paper to protect my photographs. So that is another option for you. Okay, I have these pages marked, so I don't want to waste your time. Okay, so on something like this, the pictures were so beautiful. I didn't really want to say an awful lot about it. There wasn't an awful lot to say about it. I just, we wanted to really go there. My husband particularly, and our son's friend with whom we stayed was able to join us that day. He wasn't working. Those were all important facts. And you can see that but I just used the printer to print that. If you're looking at some of this beautiful Asian paper, that was an advisor special. If you're an advisor, you get special previews of things. So again, now you can use, if you don't have, if you want to use designer paper to do your notes, now I use that bamboo designer paper as a frame for these little mounting. It just adds another touch rather than putting it on a plain piece of paper. So you can still be creative even though you're just using a typed copy. Hang on, here we go. Okay, so in this one, again, there was not a lot to say, but I wanted to make sure that I had this information. They were having a festival because it was right before Christmas. And then we were able to see Mount Fuji from the bridge. It was so exciting. That was our first really good look at it. Okay. So this was our first Christmas away from home, so it was special, and we had to make sure that we had lots of documentation. I booked a trip for us to go to Mount Fuji because it wasn't going to be a regular Christmas, so we made it a super special Christmas, and that's why I had to write that story here. Don't want to forget any of that detail. And on the bus, we got origami Mount Fuji, a bell choir awaiting us. It was just a perfect day. And you see, again, I typed and used the paper to make sure I protect my photos because it was not photo safe paper, so I put it on the Creative Memories paper. And last but not least, I have this here. Okay, yes. So I took pictures of the ikebana, all the different arrangements at the train stations. They kept changing them every few days. Beautiful, fresh flower arrangements. That was important because I love flowers and gardens so much. That was a wonderful thing that we got to see. All right, so this was a very important story in our house. This little tiny fiber optic tree is battery run. And my son was there working on his computer, and I had the tree on. That was our Christmas tree. And I had that on for the longest time, but there's a nice close-up of it. Maybe you can see it. It was beautiful, and it kept changing colors. But he was totally amazed that anything so small could be so annoying. So that was something we wanted to remember, so we bring it out every year. We're not annoyed by it anymore, though. It's just a lovely memory. Look at this, beautiful, beautiful. Okay, I think that's all I need to show you on this one. Yeah, I did write a little bit here. Our last look at Mount Fuji from the airplane. It looks teeny tiny there. It was spectacular. Now, before I show you some of the tools that we have to help you with journaling, I just want to take one more time to show you how I feel that it's so important to write in your own handwriting and to get some thoughts down. So we used to have these 8x10 albums, and I got them for all three of our kids. And what I did was, of course, did a little dedication page, and then I wrote something about them. Now, of course, they were little at the time, but I wrote my thoughts, what my hopes were for them, and then I used the school pictures, and you just pop them in. The dates, of course, are on the back, and I have one as they grow up. They're growing up all the way. Graduation, Navy, and I think I'm going to put a wedding picture there. Haven't done that yet. And then I did the same thing, of course, for the middle child, Brian. Our middle child, Brian, yes. Characteristics, all about him as well. And then did the same thing with his school pictures all the way through to his graduation and into college. And then our daughter. Of course, the easy part was popping the pictures in, but you want to make sure that you write about them. You want to write, they want to hear that, what you were thinking and how much you love them and what's special about them. That's something that they will cherish forever. You know, when that's all they have left was one of her high school graduation, one of the last concerts she did, dance concerts. In any case, it's very important. You want to make sure that you have something like that for them, because it's important. They're going to really care about it now, but even more so later. So now let me show you some of the tools that we have that are going to help you with your journaling. Take a look at these templates. So from time to time, Creative Memories comes out with these different templates that you can use to help line up your journaling. You can use either side as the beginning. And if you don't have this and you have an advisor, ask your advisor about them. If you don't have an advisor, ask me, pick me. And you can use some of these to make the lines, and then you can make lines with pencil, do your writing with our Creative Memories pens, and then you can erase the pencil and the Creative Memories pens, pen ink is permanent, but it's photo safe. It's not going to damage your photos. We also have this ABC if you wanted to do the lettering. If you're going to do something like this, you would want to put down a ruler, some kind of a straight edge to keep you in line, or just use this as a straight edge, and if you line that up when you go to the next letter, that'll keep you in line. That's another helpful way. You can use some of our recipe templates as actual journaling templates as well. So you see how they've done it here. They have the journaling in the middle. So when I get these, first of all, when I get my recipe templates, I always trace this onto the paper that it comes with, because that's kind of my it's kind of my landing station, so that if I am cutting out shapes, I can put them right on top here. But you see how this would be a beautiful box for journaling, or you could have a circle photo in here, and then you could write characteristics on the lines and just use the dot pen or the thick end of the dual tip pen to make the rest of the lines. Very easy, will keep you on the lines, but these you don't even have to make. You again can make them with pencil if you wanted to erase them. And people think you're a genius with it. It's no problem. This one is not actually for journaling, but there's no reason why you couldn't alternate. Write some journaling, maybe put colors or put some kind of embellishment in between. But that would kind of be a nice way on one side of a page, and then you would have all the room on this side for photos. Maybe not in that arrangement, but you see how that would be very flexible to do. Very handy and easy. Now this one I love. This was from Croptoberfest 2021. See, those are all the designs. So these two are designed for writing. Excuse me, this one you could write something in here as well. But these are also great for painting, and I'm going to show you that on another video. Painting with the Creative Memories ink, because as I said, it's photo safe. But these templates are beautiful for that. So you have a sunflower here and just a circle with some leaves on the side. Very nice. And look at this beautiful summer one. Besides the word summer, which if you wanted to use that for a heading, but then we also have these other boxes and blocks. That was the dot pen. I did the dot pen. You can just use our dot pens to fill in some of these spaces. You don't have to color. But I have used these to paint. Just beautiful. Just beautiful. Okay. Now you're ready for a trip down memory lane. If you have been around with Creative Memories for a while, you might have these. Or your advisor, like me, might still have these rulers. Okay, you remember these rulers. All right. This one, you could make the line. Or you could just use this to guide where you're putting sticker letters and so forth. This is lumpy bumpy, but you could use the top if it was stickers, the top all along there. I'm not so sure that I would use this. But again, you could use the top. I haven't tried that one. But this is another option to use as your guide. Here's another oldie but a goodie with some more lines on there that you can use. You might remember this one. We have journaling lines up here, little corner decoration, and then you have another journaling line this way. I have a lot of these. I've been with Creative Memories for a while. All right, look at these. These are beautiful. You can use your pen, fine tip pen, or the small end of the dual tip pen, and you can decorate your shape as well. And last but not least of these, we call these storylines. And again, you can have a speech balloon, and then other beautiful shapes. Ask your advisor. If not, ask me, because I have those. Now, the other thing I want to talk to you about is possibly you can use a ruler, of course, if you want to have a straight edge. Have a ruler to have a straight edge. If you want to draw a line, or if you just want to have it there, this is not a 12 by 12 piece of paper, but if you had a 12 by 12 piece of paper, you could line it up exactly on these measurements, keep it there, and then you can start putting your stickers, or you could start writing there. Use it as a guide. We also have the old Titletopia, which you can use for writing, but you also can use it to set just the bottom of a sticker on there, a letter sticker on there, and then you put that down and you can peel that off. Sometimes I have trouble peeling it off personally. I don't know what my deal is, but so sometimes I just use it as a guide, and I just put that in, and then I just move the Titletopia out of the way. So this is the old Titletopia, but just about a month ago, maybe not even, maybe a month ago, Creative Memories came up with a new one. So here's another one that you can use either direction, of course, with a straight line or with a wave, which is another fun way. Now, you also can use shapes. So these are pre-cut. This is pre-cut Creative Memories paper that I have, and I have large ones and small ones. I just brought the small ones out, but you can put your stickers on there. And sometimes what I do, if I'm concerned that it's not going to be exactly precisely in line, you know, you can draw a line, but sometimes I just kind of put them cattywampus, so that way it's not as obvious and I don't feel bad about myself. So Creative Memories has created these new sticker strips, and if you look here, you can see that they're in 2 different thicknesses. There's a thin strip here. I'll peel it up a little bit so you can see. A thin strip, and then there's a thicker one. And the beauty of these is you write on it with your Creative Memories pen, but then you can peel it off. As you can see, I only used part of it here. So you can make it as short or as long as you wish. They don't take up that much space, but you can do your handwriting in little spaces. If you make a mistake, then just use another piece. Pretty sweet. Okay, in addition to that, if you didn't want to just use squares to make shapes to put sticker letters on or to even journal on, the square would be big enough that you could journal inside of it. Look at the little puzzle piece. Let me show you what I did with the puzzle piece. So with my DKG teacher group, I decided to do my journaling on the puzzle pieces. I just had a few things to say, but I wanted to put it in that logo that is for autism, so I did it like that. And here are some other besides the puzzle piece. You have, of course, the square and the circle, which would be good. There might be another shape like a heart or a star or something like that. But then you don't want to forget about our, big noise. You don't want to forget about our tab and our banner punches. So I did some examples for you here. So you see these would be the tag, and you could make them as long or short as you want, and they are 1 inch, 2 inch, or 2.5 inches. Make them, as I said, as long or short as you want. They could be used vertically or horizontally. Same thing with our banner, 1 inch, 2 inch, or 2.5 inch. And the beauty of it is, when you cut your paper, you cut your strips of cardstock or designer paper. When you do that, you cut it into that length, then it fits into the punch where it's supposed to. A little loud there. Let's make a banner on this end. Ta-da. Then let's do 2 inches. So you can cut these off. Use these for your journal. Makes it a little more interesting when you add just another dimension to it. It's not just it can be a rectangle or a square, you know, it's just up to you. But you do have these options. If you have these punches, don't just think of them as making tags for gifts and so forth. Think of them using them for your journaling. And you can use cardstock like this, or you can just cut cardstock, and let me just get that out of the way. You can use that, and then if you wanted to make lines on it, get my 12-inch trimmer. If you wanted to make lines on it, you could use either the scoring blade or the perforating blade. And I did a couple with the perforating blade to show you. I pressed really hard because I wanted you to see it. Don't press this hard because it'll cut it apart. But maybe you can see that there are lines there that you could follow for journaling. That's the perforating blade. I didn't press so hard on this one. And where's the scoring? And this is the scoring blade. So that you can see the lines, but then once you write on it, then it really wouldn't be that visible to somebody. But you remember how easy it is to just change the blades in here, to switch out to the scoring or the perforating blade. It's just that easy, and it'll make your journaling job a lot easier when you have a guide like that. Now, I would be missing out if I didn't tell you that one of the major things that Creative Memories has come up with for journaling are these journaling mats. They call Variety Mat Pack because sometimes it has a logo on it that is just for decoration or for matting a photo, but a lot of times they have lines. Let me show you this mat that I'm showing you right now is called WriteOn. It was a Variety Mat Pack specifically for journaling, but you see in addition to that, it also does have some sayings. It has solid that you could mat a photograph with, but be sure to take advantage of the mat packs. Almost every collection has them, and when you use those, you know, your work is already finished. Some of them, they have them so that there are 2 on 1, you can cut them apart, and that's a beautiful thing to do. I also like that these little ones will fit into the multi-pocket pages. They slip in here. So if you wanted to journal on this and then put your pictures around it, then you'd be able to do that as well, and it fits in there perfectly. So in the 4x6, they're usually the mats are 4x6 and 4.5 by 6.5. Okay. The other thing that I use a lot, and you can just use designer paper. I happen to use these because I still have them. As you can see, it's the old CM logo. But sometimes you can use designer paper that has a little design on it. Let me get one that has kind of a subdued little design. These also had the journaling lines on them. They don't make these anymore, but you see, this has a design, but it's such a subtle design that I use this kind of thing all the time for journaling. You'll see a lot of these in my albums. And don't forget that, you know, I also cut these with the custom cutting system with a punch, or also you can cut them into different shapes, like squares and circles. I mean, squares or rectangles with your 12-inch trimmer, or your little personal trimmer actually works with these little pieces as well. And then I keep these strips because you never know when you might just want to add a little strip of journaling. Okay, sometimes looks nice if you offset it. Got a little offset thing going on there. All right, these are the only ones I have left of them. They don't make them anymore. It's a shame, but you know, they have all these beautiful colors. This one was called Metro. This is Tuscany. Oh, let me see that. Oh, maybe they have it on the back. And they show you even using the punch or custom cutting system. These are older, but remember, Creative Memories paper is forever. It's archival quality, so it's going to be good forever. So, of course, I still have it. I'm not going to get rid of it. I will put these on my website, however, because I only have 4 left. I have 2 of one of these. Forget which one, but yeah, that's all I have. But they're a great, great journaling tool to use these, because you can write on. You don't have to be worried about messing up. If you make a mistake, get a new piece of paper, turn it over. Otherwise, you can maybe turn it over. These, I believe, are just one-sided. Yeah, these are white on the other side, which sometimes maybe you need a white one. And they do, as I said, they do have these doubles as well. So they're another wonderful, great tool. And these little 5x7 boxes, I love them for organizing a lot of things. Now, again, one more thing I want to show you, and it is specifically designed if you want to just keep a journal. And those are our happy albums. There are 6.75 times 10 albums, and they do come with white pages, with just filler pages. They also come with now with horizontal pocket pages, if you want to mix between having a journal and having a few photographs in there. Beautiful little albums, real handy, easy to take, easy to carry around, like if you're going on a trip or something, and you wanted to take these. These are a really great size to take. So that is that. Now, the last thing that I want to talk about is the most important tool for journaling, and that are the pens. Look at these beauties. Brand new. Special edition colors. I did pop in my black and my brown in here, but I love this. We have so many wonderful polka dot storage things. Very exciting. But let's look inside my little polka dot pen holder. So here I've divided my pens by, I have my micro tip and my dual tip. Dual tip just means that there is a fat end and a skinnier end. Micro tip is really, really, really skinny. Micro, the word. And these are the dot pens, which do have a bigger dotted end and a smaller one. And the dot pens are really fun because you can, when you make a dot, depending on how long you hold it down, the dot size changes. I hold it for a little bit and get a bigger dot and get different sizes. Really fun. But Creative Memories pens are completely photo safe. Well, I certainly hope that this helped you. I don't want you to hold back from journaling. It really, really is important. If you have any questions or comments, please just write those comments for me. I do follow my comments and I try to answer them right away. I do need you to subscribe to my channel, so please do so if you like the content particularly, but I cannot survive without having supporters, so please do that for me. And if you will check on my lindascrapbookingstation.com, my website, you will see some things that are current creative memories, some that I have that are vintage creative memories that I have from before, but remember, creative memories products are lifetime. So I thank you again for watching, and I hope that you have a wonderful time scrapbooking, but I want you to remember to journal. Remember to journal. It's really, really important. It's a reflection of who we are, and our family histories, each one, are very important. Until next time, bye for now.